the Opubco Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. Time for our inbox segment. Your email questions, our answers right here on video. Barry, let's get right to it with a question from Joe. Joe says, when Blake Bell replaced Trevor Knight in the fourth quarter against West Virginia, did you see that bounce in their step of his teammates?
No, I didn't. And I tell you, I've got to believe that we're getting a little bit too far out into the stratosphere of talking about the emotion of teammates. We saw that a lot with Landry Jones, people saying, they're going to rally around a more exuberant quarterback. No, they're going to play well for a good quarterback, and that's the way it goes. I did not see a change. I saw a change in the OU offense because I thought the Sooners just had a commitment to, we knew they weren't going to run, but if they needed to pass, they were ready to throw it with Blake Bell. I saw more excitement out of Blake Bell. But the Sooners were running well with Trevor Knight. They ran well with Blake Bell. And then on Saturday, I thought the offense played very well with Blake at the quarterback. It had nothing to do with enthusiasm.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about here is, if you replace a quarterback that's not playing well with a quarterback that comes in and plays well and scores points, guys are going to get excited about scoring touchdowns. That's what guys get excited about. And I don't get the feeling like guys were down when Trevor Knight was named or guys were up when Blake Bell was named. Obviously he's been around longer. The guys that we're talking to after games or hearing from after games are largely friends of his because they're older guys who've been on the team and been around him. But yeah, I don't necessarily buy sort of a exuberance about Blake Bell. Yeah, they're excited to be scoring touchdowns, but who wouldn't be? All right, let's go back to the inbox. This one from Joel. Joel says, not even winning out, not a chance of that, might save Mack Brown now. Are you thinking about putting together a list of possible replacements? I already have.
Well, yes, I am, because I think DeLoss Dodds is sort of a lame duck himself, and they might just need an interim consultant, so I don't know why the University of Texas wouldn't call me. Here's who I'd call first. I'd call Art Briles. I know Art's a little rough around the edges for the tea-sipping crowd in Austin, but what a football coach, what a Texan. Coached at Stephenville. Coached at Houston, coached at Tech, coached at Baylor.
He can recruit a little bit too, Barry.
His son played at Texas, I'm told. This is a guy with so many Texas ties, so many Texas roots. He talks like a Texan in the same way that I talk like an Okie. He talks like a Texan. He can coach guys up to play football. The last 3.5 years, Baylor has won more games than Texas have. That's just a nonsensical fact. And I would start with Art Briles.
Yeah, Art Briles is on my list. Also on my list, I think you got to call Nick Saban. I think if you're Texas and you have Texas's money and you have Texas's resources and you have Texas recruiting, you at least got to call the guy and see if he's interested. See if you can draw him to Austin. Another name I'd be interested in is John Gruden. He's been out of coaching for a while. I think he may have behind the scenes expressed some interest in that Texas job. Those are two guys I would look at. But Art Briles is not far down my list, Barry. I definitely think he's right there too.
David Shaw, Charlie Strong also being mentioned.
Definitely so. All right, back to the inbox. This one from John. John says, a trend I've noticed during these first few weeks of games. What has happened to the dominance of SEC defenses?
It's a great question. Alabama A&M 49-42. Georgia, South Carolina 41-30. Georgia, Clemson 38-35. I know Clemson's in the ACC, but we're seeing a lot of high-scoring games out of the SEC, and let me tell you why. Bob Stoops said it the other day. Quarterbacks. The SEC has a bunch of good quarterbacks. They've got Aaron Murray at Georgia. They got A.J. McCarron at Bama. They got the young lad whose name I can't remember his name or even his nickname, but he's got a famous trophy that I can't remember at A&M. Ole Miss has a good quarterback in Bo Wallace. Mississippi State has a veteran in Tyler Russell. He's hurt, but the SEC has LSU with Zach Mettenberger playing very well. When you get good quarterbacking, it's hard to stop, and the SEC has good quarterbacking. So I don't think you're going to see 49-42 every week, but I don't think you're going to see 9-6 like we saw in that Bama LSU shootout from 2 years ago.
Hey, whoever said that A&M has just got a Big 12 defense, did they forget that Alabama gave up 42 to A&M. I mean, let's be honest here. Yeah, A&M didn't play great defense in that game, but yeah, we're not seeing great defense out of the SEC. And I think as these teams move more and more to more of a spread, more of an up-tempo offense, more teams are doing that, a la A&M and some others. I think you're going to see defenses continue to have trouble. That's why Nick Saban was talking about injuries. I think he might be a little worried about injuries. More than anything, he's worried about giving up more points. Back to the inbox, and this one from Lance. Lance says, what do you think will happen with Sports Illustrated? Just bad publicity and the loss of OSU fans as subscribers?
Yes, that's what I do think. I mean, I don't think this is going to have a long-term effect on Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated is one of those institutions that's so big, you don't bring sports. Even if SI is completely debunked in this story, which I don't really anticipate happening, but it's too well established to bring it crumbling down. I think what happened was this. I think Sports Illustrated had this information, decided to try to hit a home run with it, and I don't think they hit a home run. I think they hit an infield single. But I think they really were wanting big things with this. Didn't really pan out. Some of it blew up in their face. They're having to do some scrambling. I mean, the notion of editors doing an interview with Deadspin after something is printed, I mean, that shows you that they're a little bit in damage control. But long term, it hurts their credibility a little, perhaps. I don't think it's a major effect.
Obviously, it's a firestorm around here, and it's something of a firestorm nationally. But let's not forget that SI, like most big media publications that have printed for a long time, they occasionally get themselves into hot water. Mike Price, they recently settled out of court with him. The story that they wrote about him when he became the Alabama coach, some things in there that they ended up paying for, so found to not be entirely true, or at least you would gather that by them agreeing to an out-of-court settlement. And then the UCLA basketball investigation of a couple years ago. If you go look for stories in the aftermath of that, there were several things in that story that were debunked, or there was sort of alternate information out there. So they've had stories similar to this, maybe not in a 5-part series, but they definitely have questions come up before, and they're still printing a magazine. It's going to continue to print, but yeah, around here, there's no bigger story right now. And be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere, newsok.com, and every day in the Oklahoman.